One of the things I'll hear parents say is that I want my child to be resilient. But oftentimes, one of the things we may not realize is that we might be saying, I don't have time or energy to teach you or show you what that might look like to be resilient. Well, my guest, Colleen from Mother Ruckers NC, is going to share some tips and tricks for parents that help us grow and build that resilience through movement when we're doing those hard things, and how it will not only impact your community, but it'll also impact your sleep.
In our most sleep deprived moments, our children will teach us exactly what we need in order to learn and grow into who we were created to be. These are the loving lessons we will learn whether we were wanting to or not. I'm Irene Gooch, your sleep coach, and I'm on mission to educate parents on how to help their young children sleep. Welcome to the journey.
All right, well, let's dive in. And I am super excited today to have Colleen Flaherty. She is founder of Mother Ruckers NC. Did I say your name correctly, Colleen?
Yes.
Awesome. And so she does some outdoor walking and rucking communities for women who are looking for less intense, but a more fun rucking experience. And for those of you who are wondering, rucking is walking with a weight in a backpack, and you can also wear a weighted vest, or you can also carry your child to get that same strength training and cardio benefits. And Colleen loves empowering women to feel their best through movement, support. Hang on one second here. Support, strength training, wellness, and recovery and mobility. And so I'm so excited to have Colleen here with me, because one of the things when I talk to my families about sleep, one of the sleep principles is we need to play and have fun, which is going to help us become the parent we want to be. And I think sometimes in the parenting journey, we can forget that. And I also think when we think about sleep, we don't think about playing, and we also don't always think about how we move our bodies. So I'm super excited to dive into all of this with you, Colleen. So thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited. We have awesome conversations when we're in person, and I know that that's why you want to record them.
Yes.
Here.
Because you actually got me into rucking. I am new to this. So I'm wondering if you can share with everybody a little bit about what you do and maybe how you got started in this journey.
Yeah, so I am a 11-year professional strength coach. And for a majority of that time, I was specifically supporting pregnant and postpartum moms. I even had a couple fertility clients come and they got pregnant through the time that we were together. So it's really that whole parenthood timeline that I was supporting very specifically. But I loved being in the weight room when I was a teenager. I was a soccer player, and I just loved the challenge and the puzzle of exercise. And, I was a teenager, so I loved the boys as well. Like, let's be real. And so I have just always lived a very active life. Like I love like playing pickup sports and, just doing stuff outside. And so when I moved here in 2020, I wanted to help women again, but I didn't want to open a gym, and I also didn't want to work in a gym. And we have all this wonderful land, but it's not outfitted to like welcome people. Like we don't have any facilities or like anything like that. So I was like, what am I gonna do? And I heard a podcast about rucking, and it was just that, when the stars align, it was just a light bulb that went off in my head. And I was like, oh yeah, rucking. Like I've heard of rucking. I know that, the CrossFitters wear the weight vests. I know that all my mamas want to baby wear and carry their little ones. And rucking is just carrying weight in a backpack. It comes from the military life when they would have to load all their supplies into their backpacks and carry them. and they'll tell you they might have PTSD just from training with their supplies and they don't ever want to do it again. Or you have some of them that do want to do it again, but in civilian life and for fun. But it is a very simple way to add more movement to your routine that you're probably already doing. So you can add a strength training component to when you're walking the dog, or you're playing outside with your kids, or riding your bike, and you're going on a walk to the park. Like, there's so many layers that you can add in. And why I love that is because we're so busy, and the number one thing that I hear from moms and parents, but it's mainly moms, is that they just have so much guilt about wanting to do all of the things, and they don't want to leave their kids again to like go to the gym. And they feel really guilty like taking that me time, and even if it's like in their home, but they like know that they need it, but like it's just a hurdle, right? And we want to like remove as many hurdles as possible to getting what we need, and in like the healthcare and wellness side of things, right? So that's why I love rucking, because it's just an add-on to what you're already doing. Like, you're already walking around your house, you're already doing stuff outside in the garden or the lawn, you're walking the stroller, you're pushing the stroller around the neighborhood because you got to get out of the house, like it's just such a great tool.
I think what you're saying though too is like you're saying just make your routines better. Like, you're already doing this, make it better and simplify it and
enhance it. Yeah.
And I think one of the things that was like such a huge aha moment when I started learning about what you were doing was I had seen people walking around my neighborhood with a bag, and I was like, well, that seems interesting. I wasn't really quite sure what was happening. I'm like, we're just backpack. And then I was walking my dog and I was like, can I make it better? And my dog needs to sniff a lot. And so like, you have inspired me in your groups because you give a lot of really great tips and about things. And I was like, well, what if I do some squats while he's sniffing? Because I'm like, I'm standing here. And I was like, I can make this walk better. And so now I feel like I have this really great morning routine that I walk my dog and I get all these extra benefits.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry about like also going to the gym later.
Right.
That's like 2 hours of your day that you just saved.
Yeah.
To do something else.
I also love what you talked about for moms. Like, a lot of times we have that mom guilt of like, oh, now I'm going to do something to take care of myself. And I just think of like how powerful it is. Like, what we're actually trying to do is like model for our kids. Like, this is what it looks like to take care of myself.
Right.
As I'm also taking care of you. And so our kids get to witness and see what it looks like. And hey, if they want to do it, great. Because I know some little toddlers and preschoolers actually may need a backpack and need extra weight to help them sleep better. And we also can be taking care of ourselves through that as well. So I love it.
Yeah. And everything that you talk about with families, I might be jumping the gun. So do you want to ask me your question?
No, like, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, everything that you talk about with, babies, their play is just like being awake, right? Because everything is stimulus, like everything is new input. So that's exhausting to them. But, throughout the gambit of our life, our bodies and our nervous system and our brain literally need movement. Like, that's how we learn. That's how we process. That's how our bodies just have that equilibrium towards health, is through movement. And I'm sure, the people watching can talk, like they can relate to when you're more sedentary and just like how yucky you feel versus like if you are more active in your day, you might be like exhausted, but you feel like lighter and more positive. And so that's the threshold of your body is created to move. been movers for millions and millions of years, and a comfort lifestyle that we live in now is very new, like in our timeline of being on this planet. And so we're not adapted to it. So it's just like, if you want better sleep, you have to get the movement before the better sleep happens, because
Yeah.
that is all part of the spectrum of a healthy body.
Yeah. Colleen, I love what you're saying. And it makes me think of a conversation I had with a colleague before. And we were talking about how like we've kind of taken away like heavy work in our day-to-day lives. Like we were
That's why we fitness.
I was kind of like, well, back in my day, I actually used to have to like push the door around, and now I could just push a button and it spins for me. Or even
Mhm.
my car door that used to be super heavy because my car was made of metal back when I was a
Mhm.
teenager, versus right now it's like sometimes you could just wave your hand and the door opens. And it's like
Right.
we've taken away those little moments to help our bodies get that movement that it needs. Yeah.
Yeah, and a big thing within this, like the people who are attracted to rucking, we'll say like the early adopters of any fitness movement has like early adopters, the people that don't need convincing, they're just jumping in because they want to suffer, they
Yeah.
want to struggle, they want to be better than they were the previous day. Um, that is like a motto, is like fight the comfort, you know, it's it's not going to lead you down your best life path if you choose all the comfort, because
Yeah.
we're just literally not designed for that lifestyle, right? Like it leads to sickness and disease and the chronic issues and the inflammation and the migraines, and you know, all of those things can
Mhm.
probably 99% of the time be remedied with more safe, appropriate movement. And then what follows is awesome sleep.
Yes.
It's a crazy like feedback cycle.
Holly, it was interesting. There was, I think I saw like one of your reels or something like that. And you had said about rucking, and you were just talking about like doing the hard things. You were like, when you're rucking, it's not like I could just like leave my child or leave this weight on the
Yeah.
side of the road. Like I have to finish
Mhm.
doing the hard things
Yep.
and kind of getting myself out of my comfort zone. And so every now and then when I'm throwing in my backpack, I'm like, it's going to be what it's going to be, and we're going to do it. And it's interesting how it helps me shift my mindset
Yeah.
every day, where I'm like, you know what, like I did it, I accomplished something hard, and now I'm done and I can move on with my day.
Yeah, I think that that is um this is like a really big rabbit hole of like psychology, but um
I like it.
signing up for, like saying yes to that hard thing, right? Like you're agreeing to suffer and be uncomfortable and have to struggle and like put in effort to get to from point A to point B. And like that is making you more resilient. And that's something that I like, that is a pillar of mine, and that's like a pillar for the business, is building that resiliency,
Mhm.
because life doesn't care what you like feel, it's just gonna like hand you all of the things, you know, so you have to be ready to handle whatever comes your way. And if you already have the mindset, like you said, of championing accomplishing, we'll change the word, accomplishment,
Yeah.
like you already have that wiring of, oh, I do hard things all the time, I can be successful in this, whatever it is. So it could be, you know, I got like a couple months ago now, I had a crazy wild experience of my car getting totaled, and it was
Mm.
completely not my fault. It was the other driver's fault, but he was a young man and he just made a mistake, and like his wheel flew off and it flew into my car and it totaled my car. And it's just like in that moment, after like my nervous system calmed down from the like adrenaline rush of just being in an accident, you know, it took me about 20 minutes to just chill And then like everyone that came was like, are you okay? Like, what up? Like, how are you not more upset? How are you not more angry? Like what, like your car is gone. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? Like, this is just life, man. Like, it just happens. This was a fluke. This was not planned. And it just is what it is. And it's just like, I know I can solve it. Like, it'll be solved, however, it's going to be solved. And like, that mindset of I can handle this situation comes from all the previous work that I've done of handling hard stuff or random stuff. And you have to, in this current comfort landscape, you have to actively go and sign up for discomfort to be a better human.
Oh, I love that. I love what you
Yeah,
just said. Be a better human. Get out of your comfort landscape.
right.
Love and I think too, life doesn't care what you feel.
Yep.
I think that's such I had to write it down because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Like life doesn't care. But I think about how many parents are trying to say, like, I want my child to be resilient.
Mhm.
We never take the time to actually practice and put in the work to make that happen.
Yeah, and
So I think
yeah,
it's unfortunate and everything you're saying, like we have to show up and do those hard things and take action.
yeah, I think that, man, parents have a lot of not only like being a parent, but they also have to be the person that creates a little bit of chaos for their kids so their kids can be uncomfortable and build that resiliency. And then they also have to be like all these different things in this current moment in time, right? Like parents might not have had to be those things at different points in our timeline, but right now they have to. And it's just like everything else, it's you can't know everything. And that's why someone like you comes in so handy, because it's like, we talk about this too. If you've never been taught that sleep is a skill, then you're not going to approach better sleep as something to be trained. Like you're just going to be like, well, my kid's a bad sleeper and I'm just going to suffer for it. Like that is a huge mentality, but it's just like building your resiliency and building your fitness. Like you can hire a coach to help you with this like very specific thing, and they can hire you for that, that training and that program. They don't have
Yeah.
to like struggle through it. And it's the same thing with fitness. It's the same thing with nutrition, and it's the same thing with like everything in life.
Yeah.
There's probably an expert for it. And so parents don't have to feel the pressure of like wearing all of the hats. But there is a recognition of I can't keep my kid in a bubble. And so if I want them to handle life well, especially as they grow and age and become adults themselves, the best time to lay that wiring in their brain and in their nervous system in their bodies is when they're very young, of like
Yeah.
feeling successful, like the little toddlers that are, jumping from the couches. You're like, it's driving you bananas, but it's teaching them that like they can take a risk and be safe, and like they were successful, and they think it's funny, and you just see a broken arm in the future. But like
Yeah.
you can create, this is the wild thing, is like go outside in your backyard and create an obstacle course for them that's like age appropriate. And it doesn't take like spending millions of dollars to do so. You can just use found objects or things that you have in the house, or go to a park or go on a hike, and like they can walk on the logs or they can walk on the rocks. And it's all very age appropriate stimulus, and but they're taking like the risk success, they're playing with those things, and they're getting the play that will tire them out so then they can sleep
Yeah.
better later on. But that doesn't change. Like adults need that same thing too, but it just may come in a different form. Like we're talking about rucking. That
Yeah.
creates a whole thing for us as adults too.
Those are great tips to share with parents about like how to engage with their kiddos in different play. I'm wondering, what mistake do you find that people make as they get into rucking?
Um, like the number one thing is either going too light or too heavy right away. And so it's play. Like everyone is like, you're coaching rucking, so where's your programs? Where's your training modules? And I'm like, my training module is that you just have to mess around. Like there is literally no, like, we can talk about posture, we can talk about stride length, but it's very unlike squatting where I can program you at a certain percentage, at a certain interval, at a certain time. Like rucking is not like that. There is a little bit, but for the beginner, it's start out with 10 pounds and wear it around for 20 minutes, half an hour, and just see how it feels on your body. And if it feels good, then tomorrow or the next time out, like add 15 pounds and see how it feels. And like, it shouldn't feel like you're dying, but it should feel uncomfortable. Like it is going to be uncomfortable. Like, remember, you're signing up for discomfort. Like it is going to be uncomfortable. And like, that's how you get stronger, is you just keep either adding more weight or more distance. And then on the flip side, it's like someone who can squat 200 pounds, you know, they're like, oh, I'm totally fine carrying 20 pounds in a backpack. Like I back squat 200. So why can't I carry 20 pounds on my back? And squatting where your feet stay the same is very different from taking forward steps. It's a whole different mechanic for your body to learn. So it's both too light or too heavy.
Got it. No, and you bring up such good points that, you know, like I think I overcomplicated it when I first started. And I think that's one of the mistakes I make. Sometimes when I'm approaching something new, I get really like, I want to do it the right way.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that you're like, well, just do it. Like, I don't know. You're like,
Yeah.
let's figure it out together. And I appreciated the conversations that we had on the different rucks. And one of my favorite things that you do on your rucks is that you take people into the community and support other businesses. I wonder if you can talk a little bit about that, because I think that's such an awesome thing you do.
Yeah, it's kind of like the only thing I want to do. It's so fun.
It is so fun. I love it. I discovered so many new things.
Yeah. So when you get into like the nitty gritty of like what is rucking compared to hiking, compared to baby wearing, compared to wearing a weight vest, like you can get really technical, and it's like, we don't need to get really technical. Rucking is usually like an urban, you're in the city, you're on the streets activity, or you're like doing a competition. Hiking is just wearing your supplies on your back for your excursion, and it could technically be rucking if you've like been really selective of your supplies and you're like, I want 20 pounds of supplies. Sure, like, but you're like going on a trail in the woods, and that's hiking. And so there's a beautiful hiking community here in the Triangle area. And so for the rucking side of things, a really like something that's super close to my heart is just bringing more awareness to our small business community. And they're not on trails in woods, so they're in the urban landscape. So we ruck to them. And it's just really important, especially I think now more than ever. And as you as a small business owner, and I'm sure other small business owners watching this, it's like, I feel like this is the hardest time for small business owners with like inflation and people just being like really mindful of their pocketbook. But there's still small businesses like opening locations and persevering and like still wanting to get their knowledge and their service or their product out. And like, I feel as a person with a platform, I take on that responsibility of sharing that with the community and supporting those people within the community as a fellow, you know, small business owner. And we target usually women-owned small businesses specifically because they still are a minority, even though you might be like, oh, well, every small business I go to is woman owned, but like that is the minority because most small businesses are owned by men. And um, that's fine, but we are just like, zoned in on that. And it's like our groups have always been small, but still like the impact of just the effort of us making that our destination or our starting point or our ending point is incredible. And like, it just makes my heart feel good that we can put a smile on that business owner's face. And I try and do a ton of social media capturing while we're there so that I can create some posts from it and just get the word out that like they exist. Everyone should go there, throw your money at them. Because it's just really, it's just really important to me to keep our money in our local ecosystem. And if you have no clue what that means, it's that the money that you spend in a small business literally stays in your town. So like that small business owner is going to go and pay for the dance classes at the other small business owner's dance studio. And then she's going to go buy groceries, at the like mom and pop shop, and that money is going to stay there. Like it's a whole recycling system. But like as soon as you go to Starbucks or Amazon or Target, like that money that goes to that giant corporation like disappears from our community and it doesn't stay within our ecosystem. And that's a huge problem. And why you see like a lot of small businesses closing because like they can't compete, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it just feels like a bigger mission of sure the chambers exist and different networking things exist, but like I am a person of action, and like I bring people together for activity, so it makes sense that like we're taking action to put our money where our mouth is, literally. And
Literally, I love
like
it.
we're taking action to truly support the small businesses and hopefully put the spotlight on them for a moment.
Yeah, I love how you can bring in that fitness piece and like again the way we're filling that wakeful window with the things we do and where we go and even what we learn from those small businesses. Like I know the few adventures I've been on with you, like I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea some of these things existed.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder because not everybody watching this might be here in the local North
Mm-hmm.
Carolina Triangle area. What does that look like for others who are connecting with you through your community?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely a game plan of mine to make it something that we do on a bigger scale, but it's just
Because your community has people from all over, doesn't it?
yeah. So it's literally like that intention of what you're doing, right? So you're not just like blah, like showing up and, that's a whole thing. So it's I would say it's the type of mentality of like parking the furthest away from the grocery store entrance just to get like those steps in, right? Like you have intention of adding more movement into your life. And so I would say having the intention of if it's important to you to support small business, then like set up, it doesn't have to be rucking, it could be walking, but like make a plan with you and your friends. If you're going to go and get coffee because like mommies need coffee, then can you walk there from your neighborhood? Can you ruck there? Can you park further away? Can you park like 10 blocks away and like make it a walking experience to there to get your reward, and then you're gonna have to walk back, but like
We all do hard things.
right, there's very intentional things that you can do to get your movement in that's good for your physical and mental health. And then it's also showing the community that like you're there for them and you're voting for them.
Yeah. And Colleen, if someone is interested in like learning more about you and how they could potentially work with you, what might that look like?
You can find me on Facebook. We have two groups on Facebook. There's the Mother Ruckers NC Facebook group that you can like, and we post, our local events that are happening there. And then
I'm going to just share the link will be down in the show notes, and you should go ahead and get connected because she gives really good tips.
Yeah. And on Instagram, it's Mother Ruckers NC. And then we have a very active, awesome women's only group called Rucking Women on Facebook that also has a private portal as well, and that you'll share the links to.
Yep. We'll have those links down there. Colleen, we probably could talk all day.
I know.
I love talking because you encourage and inspire me. I'm like, I've got to go move. I got to keep taking action.
Yeah.
I wonder what words of wisdom or what you might say to the parent, maybe specifically a mom who is feeling very sleep deprived right now and feels like I can't move, like it's too hard. What would be that encouragement you might say?
The most basic, simplest thing that you can do is just go out for a walk. Like, don't think that your fitness has to be with weights at a gym for 3 hours, like maybe it looked like before, or you've never fitnessed ever in your life. The most impactful movement that you can do on a regular basis is just walking. And so it's great to get that sunshine and fresh air and get the kids out of the house because they're driving you crazy. But walking is so powerful. And I just want people to understand that, like, your life can change just by walking, and it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that.
Yes. I need you to actually tell that to my teenage son because he's like, walking is not going to get you very far. I'm like, it is. It's working. Like,
yeah,
there's changes happening little by little.
Right. Exactly.
All right. So, Colleen, I'm going to ask you the top 5 loving lessons around some of your favorite things here. So, what is your favorite product or service out there right now in this moment?
Oh, this is a good one.
I'm always looking to like build my favorite things list because I have some I like grow with you products, things that like have a long benefit. Do you have a favorite thing?
Favorite thing, man. I think my favorite product that could like just have a lifetime with you is like any type of reusable, like something, be it a water bottle or a Ziploc bag or like a glass container or something. Like, I'm just huge on the eco side. So like, save yourself money, save, the planet at the same time. But just look to create a life of more reusable things, especially in like your kids' water bottles and stuff.
Yeah. And you could throw it in your rucking backpack.
Mm-hmm.
What's your best self-care tip?
There's so many.
Top one.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know where they are, but like rolling for self massage. I'll get my toted pair.
Oh, I'm excited.
So these are like the size of lacrosse balls, but they're softer than lacrosse balls. And like, I literally roll my feet every single day with them, just while I'm standing doing the dishes or cooking. Our feet don't get enough love, and that's definitely my everyday go-to practice.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you for sharing it and showing that. What is something you thought you would never do or say?
Oh, I love this. That's really funny. I don't know anything off the top of my head. I'm sure there is like that moment where I'm like, I can't believe I'm saying that right now. There's definitely those moments when you're watching kids and you're like, don't stick that like broccoli head up your sister's nose. Like, there's those things funny things that you say and you're like, I didn't know ever in my life that I would say that, but I just can't think of anything right now.
Those are the things that we do say sometimes as parents, like kind of crazy.
Hmm.
What's the one thing you want all parents to know and take away from our conversation today?
That if you want better sleep, you have to move your body. And if you want to move your body better, then you have to focus on sleep. Like, you can't have one without the other. So they're so intricately tied that if you need to bite the bullet and hire a coach for both or either, then like you have to do it because like your life literally depends on it.
Yeah, that's such great wisdom. Last question. What's the one thing you've learned in your entrepreneurial journey that you would share with other entrepreneurs?
That it sucks and you have to just and that you just have to like it's kind of like the whole conversation theme of like you have to get used to it sucking or you're not going to get anywhere. And so it's just like with rucking, like you can't take the weight off, so you just have to accept it and accept that it's going to be weighing on you and it's going to be hard, but like you're going somewhere. And so it's just like the same thing with business ownership. It's like it's hard every single day, but you have to literally like just be okay with that. And however you get to that place mentally, spiritually, emotionally is the whole journey of it. But like just like life, it's just gonna be hard, and how you deal with it and laugh with it and grow more resilient to it is like completely up to you. But there are ways to do it to make for a good life. So
well, Colleen, thank you so much. Like I said, we could probably be here all day, and everybody would love to listen to our conversations because they're always encouraging and inspiring. So I'm going to encourage everybody who's watching to check out the show notes, learn more about Colleen, get connected with her, and play well, get yourself rucking and moving. And until next time, we hope you move your body and have sweet dreams.
Thanks for tuning into today's show. You can see all of the details and show notes below. And as you go out into your day, I hope that you'll make it your mission to be calm, confident, and rested as you lead today. Sweet dreams.